We had this anxiety about Russia's increasing presence in Crimea for a long time, and during these moments, these separatist groups, the groups that always existed there, got more and more active. Groups such as Cossacks and all these politicians who have been speculating on the Russian world rhetoric, but never had any actual connection to Russia. And these processes were quite frequent. Not long before that, in 2004, the same thing was happening. I remember all these worries mobilizing us as a national group, not as individual activists or civil societies. So without carrying out any specific preparations, we as a nation became capable of resisting this. That's why from November onward we started meeting up quite regularly, and this wasn't even subject for discussion. Or let's say the pessimists didn't discuss the need to support the Euro integration processes and the Euromaidan in Kiev. Crimean Tatars would just flock together and take a train to Kiev. And I did the same thing for many months. From November onward we represented the Majlis community at the Euromaidan. This showed us that in reality, the people living in Crimea have already moved on from the moods that were prevalent in the 1990s. Do you understand what I mean? First of all, the lawmakers from the Party of Regions did not provoke any feeling of respect. All of them were half-criminals, discredited within society, so they had no reason to think that they could be backed by the public. The public did not support them, bar some marginal groups. But what support did they have to work with? As strange as this might sound, the support from the law enforcement institutions, because law enforcement institutions were formed with a relationship with Russia in mind, the relationship with Russians, not pro-Ukrainians. These people did not consider Ukraine their state, their motherland.
At what point did it hit you that this is getting serious, that it won't end soon?
On February 27, 2014, before that, 2 weeks or maybe 10 days before that, I was returning from Kiev. There was a big group of us and I told them one thing. After we were freed from prison, I was reminded of my words. I told them that a war was to follow. Now they ask me how did I know, but I didn't mean it in the sense of a war with Russia. I meant that there will be some sort of internal opposition that might escalate into an armed conflict, especially in Crimea. That's probably how it was going to be. And then Russia intervened. Then Russia sent its troops. We had no doubt that it was pro-Russian special forces that seized the local administration building. I'm telling you that a week before this, Sevastopol already carried out all organizational measures for its separation from Crimea. All of this couldn't happen without help from Russia's special forces.
How do you see Crimea's deoccupation?
I think that there is no way of doing it using force. And recently I started to realize that there is no need for the use of force if we, as a state, along with our partners, continue to put pressure on Russia. Perhaps many people think that 3 or 4 years is a long time, but it will take some time for a monster like Putin to burn down. When I talked to the FSB people from Moscow who came to visit me, I realized that they aren't indifferent, which means that these measures that we're taking hit them in the right spots. The other point is that we need to increase this pressure and demand for Europe and the United States to do the same.